Good morning, everybody. What's going on? Welcome on in to 1TS Daily right here at One True Sport. How's it going? I'm Zack Heydorn, your host. Hopefully, you guys had a wonderful weekend. It's Monday. I don't know where you guys are, but it is a beautiful day here in Chicago where I am. And you can't always say that about this wacky city, but it's beautiful. Hopefully, you guys are all doing well out there. Before we get into the show today, just want to thank you for last week. We launched a new network. This is a brand new show entering week 2, and appreciate everybody who's checked it out, either on demand or live, or if you've participated or not. Thank you so much for being here and for checking us out and for trusting us to do what we do for you in terms of covering professional wrestling. This is 1TS Daily. We are a daily show, 11 Eastern, right here on One True Sport, talking the news of the day, the news of the week in professional wrestling, across professional wrestling. I'm Zack Heydorn. I'm your host every single day. You can catch more of me at Brass Ring Media. That's my little pro wrestling baby. You can check out our YouTube channel right now. Would love for you guys to subscribe to that. It's totally free. We're live all throughout the week with long form analysis of current events in professional wrestling. So definitely check that out. Just scoot on over after the show, search Brass Ring Media and YouTube, and we'll be there. We'd love for you to subscribe. I'm also a new author, wrote Stunning, the Wrestling Artistry of Steve Austin. It's a Steve Austin book about the art of his career in the ring. It's up on Amazon right now. Just search Stunning and you can find it. I hope that you do. As for 1TS and One True Sport, guys, we got membership tiers. This does not have to be the only time that you check out the happenings here at One True Sport. Head on over to onetruesport.com. There you will find all the different membership tiers and every other show that we do, from Arn to Kurt Angle and just so many legendary talents that are on this channel throughout the week. But onetruesport.com give some insight into how you can get more of that as you go throughout the week. So there's a lot of different tiers that you can pick from, lots with different perks within each one, all worth it. Definitely worth your time. So head over to do that. If you're not able to do that right now, hey, you can still help out, support the cause. Like this video, that just does wonders for us. Subscribe to our free YouTube channel here that you're watching this on. Hey, participate in the show. That's the most fun part. Right now, I got the comments open. The super chats are open as well. If you're able to contribute there and would like to ask a question about current events or something else entirely regarding pro wrestling, you can go ahead and do that right now in the super chats. They are open. I see people filing into the chat right now. So very cool to have you guys. All right, let's start off talking some news of the week. We definitely we'll preview Raw in a little bit here. We'll also touch on NXT Battleground from last night. But the big news of the weekend, coming out of the weekend, is Fightful and PW Insider reporting that Ricochet, WWE's Ricochet, will not be signing a new WWE contract when his deal ends. On one hand, when I hear that news, I'm like, okay, that seems to make sense, right? I mean, it's not that I don't like Ricochet, and it's not that I don't think Ricochet has value to a pro wrestling company. I think he does, but when I think about Ricochet and I think about what WWE is asking him to do right now, I mean, I'd be looking to get out of there too, right? From a creative, artistic perspective, right? When you take the business of working for WWE out of things, I'd sit there and I'd say to myself, hey, Ricochet, dude, you could be doing so much more. I mean, you're wrestling for 3 minutes on X, that you're getting pushed as the speed champion, right? I'd say to myself, hey, I can obviously bring a lot more to the table than just that. That would be my mindset. Now, of course, you have to factor in the business of it back in, right? I mean, after all, this is a business. It's the wrestling business. Ricochet wants to make money. He wants to be paid well for his services. It's not all about, the artistic integrity of what you do. Maybe it is. We don't know yet, but but likely it's not. Ricochet's got bills to pay just like the rest of us, and I think that is a factor. But Ricochet just coming out and saying, "Hey, look," or he's not saying, but the news reports indicating that he's not going to sign a new contract tells you a couple things. One, I think it tells you that, hey, he's serious about wanting to make his own mark on the professional wrestling industry. And I think he wants to be used well. So he's going to try to find a place that's going to use him well. Now, whether that's on the indies, whether that's AEW, whether that's Impact Wrestling, I mean, who knows? But I think obviously him not resigning with WWE indicates that he's interested in more than just the money, and he thinks he can get what he wants from a money perspective somewhere else too. And I think he likely can. I think he likely can. And that's going to be a really interesting story to follow. I mean, frankly, look, like Ricochet in WWE hasn't clicked for a multitude of reasons. And look, he's got some opportunities in WWE. I mean, I guess you could call it, he's wrestled Brock Lesnar for the title in a minute match or whatever it was, but he was there. He's been Intercontinental Champion. He's been United States Champion. He's been in some prominent matches. He's been in like all the big Money in the Bank matches. He's been in a match with Logan Paul. Like, so I mean, he's had his moments, but he's never been like a focus. I guess that's how I'd put it. Like, he's never been pushed really. Like, it's been all right. Well, it's Money in the Bank season, so let's heat up Ricochet really quick. So it makes it easier for us to drop him in the Money in the Bank match, and then after that, nothing. Well, okay, he's going to work Logan Paul, so he's going to be on TV, but after that, nothing. That's been his run in WWE. Not a sustained push, not a push of really any kind of momentum at all, but just kind of little spot stuff here and there where it made sense for him because of his athleticism and because of what he can do in the ring. That's been his life in WWE, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. But if you want more, if you want to be the focus, if you want to be the guy that's holding championships, if you want to be the guy that's in storylines, if you want to be the guy that is going to carry a narrative week to week to week to week, like that didn't seem like he was. That didn't seem like it was going to happen for him in WWE. Now, is WWE wrong about that? Like, that's the question that I'd pose. I don't know that I've seen a Ricochet where it made sense to go further with him than they did. Let's just put it that way. I think that he's kind of, and I understand that I may be like the minority here, but have we really seen like a lot of character development from Ricochet? Have we seen Ricochet show an ability to consistently cut good promos week in and week out? Have we seen a Ricochet that, that has elevated his game and kind of changed up how he does things in WWE? Now, being that that's the company that he works for, I don't know that we have. That WWE was always going to tone down that style that Ricochet has. That's not what they do week in and week out. There's moments for sure, but Ricochet's not going to be doing that, double flip thing off the top rope every single week on Raw. That's not what WWE does. So you have to be able to deliver on a different level. And I don't think that Ricochet really ever delivered on that level consistently enough. There were flashes of it. There's flashes of good promo here. There's flashes of a good promo there. But it wasn't consistent. And so, with the news of him leaving, that may be the best thing that's ever happened to Ricochet in terms of him being able to go out there and spread his wings a little bit and try to make, an impact elsewhere where his skills are more appreciated. If he goes to AEW, for example, he's going to fit perfectly there. That's the type of style that they work week in and week out. Even just like Eddie says here in the chat. Eddie, thank you so much for joining us, man. He goes, guys like Ricochet in an X division or a cruiserweight division. Yeah, cruiserweight in WWE. I mean, that's a division that you don't mention that word, but he is an X division guy. I can see him going to TNA and having the same kind of run like Mustafa Ali is right now, where he's working with some good guys. He's able to showcase himself a little bit, and that's that. Like, I think that's beneficial for him at this point to kind of be in an environment that is going to utilize his skills to the fullest potential. Eddie also has a bunch of other comments here that I definitely want to get to. If there's a cruiserweight division, that's where he would have been pushed. Yes, kind of. That cruiserweight verbiage, though, yikes. That doesn't have very good. There's not good memories about cruiserweights in WWE. So yes, I think you're right, but like I don't know that's a good thing for old Ricochet there. Eddie says that Ricochet can't cut a promo. Yeah, I mean it's not a strong suit of his. I think he's, like I said, there's been moments where he's had flashes of cutting some good promos, but yeah, he's not going to carry, a show or a segment on microphone. I mean, unless he's working with somebody like a Logan Paul, where he can play off them well, which he did. And Eddie also says Ricochet should do a full indie run where he fights different guys like Mike Bailey. Yeah, I mean, if the money's right, Eddie? I mean, like, as I said, I mean, Ricochet, it's funny because I think Mustafa Ali actually, boy, I don't really want to be like the hot take guy today, but I think Mustafa Ali did more than Ricochet in WWE consistently. I don't know. I mean, it's weird to say. I mean, he doesn't have the title runs, to speak of. Maybe as I talk about it out loud here, they're very similar with Ricochet just right behind him. But or right ahead of him, excuse me. But I don't see Ricochet as this just premier level talent that's going to be hitting the open market. Like, this isn't like Becky Lynch hitting the open market. This isn't Drew McIntyre hitting the open market. This isn't Will Ospreay hitting the open market. It's just not. Like, I just think that he's on a smaller level than that. So an indie run could work. But if he has a chance to go somewhere else and he has a chance to sign a contract for good money, I think he's going to do that. And he absolutely should. Andrew, thanks for joining the show. Andrew says, Lost in the Shuffle comes to mind when talking about Ricochet. Yeah. I mean, yes, but also no, Andrew. Like, to me, WWE knew exactly where he was. Exactly where he was. So lost in the shuffle kind of means like, oh man, like we had you, but we kind of lost you and we didn't know what to do with you. I think they knew. I think they knew they had an athletic guy who could work good matches, and that was pretty much the extent of it. So they used him to that end, and that was that. Now, the big thing here is, will Ricochet go to AEW? I'd say likely. I say that's a likely move. The question that I pose to you guys is Ricochet a top guy in AEW? Really? I mean, I don't know that he is. I think that Ricochet lands in a similar spot in AEW that he was in WWE. Maybe a little bit higher because he's got the work rate. So he's going to be able to work matches with the Will Ospreay, with the Swerve Strickland. But I don't think he's going to be a guy that Tony Khan goes, okay, this is my guy. I'm strapping the rocket to him. Here's the AEW World Title. You're a top guy. Go. I don't see that with him. Like, I see him, more as, honestly, like more as like a Miro or a Malachi Black than I do a Swerve Strickland or Will Ospreay in coming over. I just don't think he has the charisma and character and personality chops that you need even in AEW to be a top guy. I mean, look at the top guys in AEW. You've got like Will Ospreay, Swerve Strickland, MJF, John Moxley. I mean, they are all strong character-based guys. They can wrestle, but they still have the personality. They still have the charisma. They still have like the gift of gab. Ricochet doesn't have any of those things. So yes, I think he will be better utilized in AEW because he's athletic and because he can work really good matches. That carries weight in AEW more so than it does in WWE. But I don't think that automatically means that he becomes a top guy. I think he's kind of a mid-card guy in WWE right now. I think he's going to be a mid-card guy in AEW. And, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But, if you read the tea leaves and you look at even who AEW is pushing to the top, I think that's still the reality of the landing spot that Ricochet has. Of course, no matter what happens, hopefully Ricochet gets he gets a contract that he wants, he gets paid the way he wants, and he gets to go where he wants. That's the beauty of being a free agent anywhere, especially in pro wrestling, when just a few years ago, you didn't have this option to kind of go out there and test the water. So good on him, but I just don't expect him to do too much more than he already has in terms of being in a different spot in the company that he joins. All right, moving on. We'll head over to NXT here. NXT Battleground last night on Peacock. I'll have a full review of that show up today over at Brass Ring Media, our Substack page. You can head over there now. Just search Brass Ring Media Substack. I hope you do. We have written work that goes up every day on different shows, and we've got different features and interviews and editorials, all sorts of stuff. So head over to Brass Ring Media on Substack. There you'll find my NXT Battleground review later today. But the highlight of the show to me, because it was kind of a flat show. I mean, sneak peek into the column, but I thought it was a flat show. I thought the UFC Apex didn't do the show a good service. I thought the crowd was bad, almost like they didn't know the product. And so it kind of just resonated in this kind of overall flat show. That had its moments. For sure. And one of those moments was Kalani Jordan winning the first ever NXT Women's North American Championship in a ladder match. Kalani Jordan has been a top prospect at the WWE Performance Center for quite some time. She's a Division I athlete. She's got tremendous look. She can even wrestle, in the ring. I think she's kind of taken to wrestling well. Like Ricochet, I think she lacks personality. I think she lacks charisma. I think she lacks kind of that jump off the TV screen star power. So in crowning the first ever North American champion on the women's division in NXT, she was an interesting choice to go with. I think, to me, when that all happened, I'm like, man, this is a push for Kalani Jordan, obviously, but I don't know that it was a push that came from legitimate results that are currently in front of NXT brass. This felt to me like, well, we want to elevate Kalani Jordan. We want to push Kalani Jordan. So let's use this championship to do that. There were other women in the match, even on the babyface side. Sol Ruca, for example. She's someone that I think has shown more personality, shown more charisma, shown to be better in the ring than Kalani Jordan, but isn't getting that same push right now. On the heel side, somebody like a Jada Parker who was in the match. That was my pick because of what she brings to the table in terms of just overall performance and presence that Kalani Jordan doesn't have. So Kalani Jordan is going to be this is a work in progress act for NXT. And so it'll be interesting to see what they do with her as champion and how long she hangs on to that belt. Going into the match, as you guys know, as we previewed here on last Friday's episode of the show, I was sure that they were going to go a heel route with this. Put the belt around the waist of a up-and-coming heel and let her have a run. Obviously, they decided against that. And because they went babyface, I really would have gone with Sol Ruga here. She stole the show. She was the best woman in the match. She had the best spots. She had the best timing. She had the best presence. And the crowd seemed to be genuinely behind her, more so than Kalani Jordan. So we'll see how this goes for NXT and for Kalani Jordan. I mean, she's going to get every opportunity to shine with this new title, but can she deliver? That will be the question, and we'll have to see, where things go. Lola Vice is someone to watch out for. I think she's a heel that could get a shot at the NXT Women's North American Championship sooner than later. She beat Shayna Baszler last night at the event in a NXT Underground match, and so she's been pushed very hard too. So to me, they're on a collision course, I think, for that North American Championship in the women's division. But we'll see. But yeah, overall, kind of an ass show, start to finish, and my full review will be up later today at Brass Ring Media. Moving right along to our Raw preview here. Let me see do we have any more comments? Okay, no. Thank you, Eddie, and thank you, Andrew, for contributing to the show here. Very good. Oh wait, here we go. We do have some more. Let's see here. Eddie correctly points out that Ruka has been more injury prone. Yeah, she has, but I mean it's pro wrestling, right? Like, I don't know how much you could take that into account for one injury, right? I mean, she had one bad knee injury. That's not good. But I don't think you could hold that against her for the rest of her NXT run. I really don't, especially now that she's been back and having good matches. But thanks, Eddie. I appreciate you, man. All right, so WWE Raw tonight, Raw preview. There's a handful of matches that have been announced for the show. We've got Braun Breaker versus Ilya Dragunov. We've got Sami Zayn versus Otis, and we've got Io Sky versus Lyra Valkyria. So those are the three matches. I am very curious as to what they do with the Braun Breaker Ilya Dragunov match. I mean, it seems to me like you have two guys there that you want to kind of protect, given that they're both new NXT call-ups. But I don't think you do this match if you're going to protect both guys. That's where I'm at on this. So I fully expect Braun Breaker to just – can't believe I'm going to say this, but I fully expect Braun Breaker to just break Dragunov. That's it. Spear, beat him up, 1, 2, 3 in the end. I hope, Eddie, that you're wrong about this. I could see no winner in that match. Look, sometimes in pro wrestling, you got to pick someone to go with. You got to either pick one way or the other way. In this case, Braun Breaker is the guy that's getting all the attention. He's the guy that's getting the big push. He's the guy that's on screen with Adam Pearce. He's the guy that's causing trouble. The essence of his whole character and his whole act is he destroys everybody, beats him up fast, and he's a guy that can't be controlled. I mean, if that's his gimmick and that's his act, and reports are correct in indicating that he's in for a major push and they've pivoted things because they've been so happy with what he's done, you don't hedge here with Ilya Dragunov. Dragunov, you can live to fight another day with him. Sometimes you just need to put one guy over strong. And in this case, that guy is Braun Breaker. I mean, there's no question. Like, it's got to be him. Anything less than a Braun Breaker clear victory here is just silly. And all for what? Like, to protect Dragunov? Like, right now, Braun Breaker and Ilya Dragunov, who both I like, and I think both have pretty high ceilings in WWE. Dragunov just isn't on the level of Braun Breaker right now. He's not the priority. He's not the guy right now that needs that attention and that needs that care. It's not him. So who is it? Well, it's Braun Breaker. So Braun goes over here, if you ask me, and I think that's exactly the way it should be. Sami Zayn versus Otis. We'll see some continued storyline development there between Sami Zayn and Chad Gable. This is also the go-home show for Clash at the Castle, which is on Saturday. And so we're going to see tonight lots of final angles, like whatever, Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre have. Like, I think we're going to see something there. that comes together and kind of brings that match to a boiling point. And obviously Zayn and Otis is an avenue to do that for Zayn versus Chad Gable for the match over the weekend. So there will be, I think, a focus on these matches, but WWE doesn't have a lot announced because of the go-home nature of the show, because, they're going to have promos, they're going to have video packages, they're going to have all sorts of stuff that, leads a final hype to Clash at the Castle on Saturday. And we'll cover and preview that later in the week, right here on this show, 1TS Daily. So you guys can look forward to that as well coming up, probably Thursday or Friday, probably Friday, honestly, where we'll do our preview. But that is coming up. All right, last but not least, as usual, guys, our 1TS Daily Nuggets for the day. It's 6/10/2024, and so your daily nuggets are as follows. Hikuleo is reportedly heading to WWE after his New Japan contract expires. That's per bodyslam.net. Hikuleo, underutilized, I'd say, in New Japan, but also a bit of a fish out of water in New Japan, too. He just doesn't have the work rate chops that you need in New Japan. But Hikuleo in WWE, because of his size, because of his look, because of the presence that they can develop, like, to me, he makes a lot of sense for WWE, more so than AEW, more so than TNA, certainly more so than New Japan. So, this is not a guy that's going to be hot-shotted to the main roster. This is not a guy that you're going to see on SmackDown or Raw for quite some time. I think WWE is going to take the slow burn approach on this and really try to develop him. But that's the best you can hope for, And as Andrew says here, he could be somebody that's in line to join the Bloodline or the new Bloodline at one point or another due to his family ties. So, yeah, but I still think it's a good signing for WWE and not a big loss for New Japan. Like, I just, he's a guy in New Japan, but he's a guy that just doesn't fit and never really did fit. And as Eddie says here, he doesn't have a lot of opponents to work with. They lost all their stars in New Japan. So, yeah, he's kind of there. And so this makes a lot of sense for all parties. And I think that makes the move particularly interesting. Also, CM Punk and Roxanne Perez. You can go find this on the WWE Twitter page. I have also retweeted it on mine. You can follow me at Zack_Heydorn on Twitter. Roxanne Perez and CM Punk had a backstage encounter after Battleground last night. Roxanne Perez was kind of, arrogant about her title win over Jordynne Grace. She retained her championship, her NXT Women's Championship against Jordynne Grace at NXT Battleground, and Punk interrupted her and just told her told her that she got lucky, told her that she needs to focus on being herself. And Roxanne Perez turned around and called him a hypocrite and then stormed off. So obviously this is not interesting from a storyline perspective, right? Like, Roxanne Perez and CM Punk aren't going to have a match. Maybe someday Roxanne Perez will be in a Punk heel faction or something like that. But I think what's interesting here is that Punk is involved in NXT. He was at the show last night. He has been like in the news as far as being a positive influence on NXT talents. Trick Williams had nice things to say about him. Cora Jade has had nice things to say about him. Shawn Michaels has had nice things to say about him. Roxanne Perez too. So I think it's just I bring it up as a nugget today because it's a showcase of Punk integrating himself back into WWE. I think it's another angle where you can see, okay, Punk's in this for the long haul. He understands that. He understands that his future, is likely, once his in-ring career is done, is likely in NXT, either as a coach or as a booker or as a, whoever, mentor, mentee, whatever, trainer. And so, this is, I think, the first chapter in that story of his career. All right, and last but not least, God, man, I can't talk. It is Monday after all, folks. Jeff Cobb will hold a New Japan Pro Wrestling TV title open challenge for his Forbidden Door opponent. And he said on Twitter here, "Let me be clear, I currently do not have a match at Forbidden Door, nor is this a way to pressure anyone into making a match. I'm willing to go the route of our sister company and just let any non-deserving person a shot at this championship. As of now, no one has stepped up. If I'm there, I'm going to fight. If not, I'll happily enjoy a day at the beach." So they're teasing something here. It makes you think, makes you wonder, who's it going to be? Who is going to step up and take this open challenge against Jeff Cobb? If you look at like the landscape, there's some guys that like would stand out, but they've already got like stuff going on in AEW. Samoa Joe, I think, versus Jeff Cobb would be a really cool match. But he's got stuff going on with Hook and like that partnership. And so, and is Joe really going to do a job for Jeff Cobb? Like, probably not. So I think that they think they've got something cool here, but I also think that whatever this reveal is of who's going to step up is probably going to come up a little bit short of expectations, just because this person is likely not going to win the New Japan Pro Wrestling TV title, and therefore it's got to be somebody that will job to Jeff Cobb, which takes the level of star power down considerably for this special reveal. But of course, we'll have more on that as we get closer to Forbidden Door. All right, you guys, we'll wrap it up there. Thanks so much for joining me. This has been 1TS Daily. We are live right here every single day, Monday through Friday, 11 Eastern, 10 Central, talking the news of the day, news of the week in professional wrestling. Love for you guys to just like, subscribe, so that you don't miss these shows, so that you're here with me every single day. It's been a blast. It's been fun. Tomorrow we'll talk, of course, Raw Fallout. We'll preview NXT, and we'll talk about whatever else kind of hits the pro wrestling news cycle between now and then. If you haven't done so already, you can follow us at 1T Sport on Twitter. Head over to onetruesport.com to see all of our membership tiers and to join and become a One True Sport member for all sorts of cool perks. And also, last but not least, hey, give us a shot at Brass Ring Media. Head over there right now when the show ends. Just hit subscribe there. We're live all throughout the week as well with longer form analysis of pro wrestling. And so definitely check that out. Cool. I'm Zack Heydorn. You can follow me at Zack_Heydorn, and I will be here tomorrow, same time, same place. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you real soon. See you guys.